Hey, crafters, crocheters, and yarn enthusiasts, check out this blanket behind me today. Today is Friday, March 25th, 2022. My name is Jenny and welcome to Granny Square Peg. You guys are going on a journey with me because late in 2020 and early 2021, I lost my ability to crochet because I had damaged my rotator cuff. And in that year where I didn't crochet, I realized I had a lot of projects in a pile. I had a lot of yarn stashed, and I have a big collection of hooks, books, patterns, and whatnot. And in that year, it gave me some perspective and insight. This is why I had so much stuff, and this is me working through all of it and trying to find a home for all of it and finish it all up and let it move on to its new home. So I've got a new blanket for you here today. This one is absolutely gorgeous, and it was the first time I'd come across a yarn where the bloggers that I was reading were using descriptions of yarn that was squishy, and this is the first time I've come across squishy yarn. Unfortunately, it's been discontinued, but let's take a look at the blanket, okay? I am calling it Pastel Ripple. Simple name, okay? It is... I have 48 inches wide, and then I have 50 to 52 inches tall, and it's made with pastel pink, minty green, lavender purple, and a turquoise tealish shade of blue, and then this ducky yellow. So while these two are not exactly pastel, I think they work really well in this blanket. Oh, it's gorgeous. So it's a ripple. Ripples are done with double crochets where... Oh, well, we'll get into the details, but look at that. And for the first time in my life, I know what squishy yarn feels like. And just a simple... I did white on the border. Isn't she beautiful? Don't mind my messy bookshelves. I'm in the middle of a bookshelf tour for my other YouTube channel. So, alright, let's take her down off the bookshelf and we'll sit and we'll go over the details, okay? Alright. I trust the IKEA step stool. Alright, so I came up with just a simple name for this one, Pastel Ripple. I made it in May, from May 26, 2015 to June 6, 2015, so just a couple weeks. The pattern is by Lucy at Attic24, and you can find Lucy. She has a blog called Attic24. She's on Facebook and Instagram. The name of her pattern is called The Neat Ripple. Okay, so this is the first blanket I'm showing you guys that I didn't design and create myself, that I used a blogger's pattern, and Lucy's phenomenal. She has no idea who I am. I'm a nobody, right? Alright. So, let's see. So, I cannot give you full detailed instructions on how to do this. You'd have to go to Lucy's blog to get her free pattern for it. But I can tell you that my initial starting chain, I used... Alright, so the yarn is... Let's start with the yarn. The yarn is... Oh, I have samples of the yarn today. Check this out. I have leftover yarn from it. It's called Sincerely by Purl Baby. It recommends a J hook or a 6mm, which I did not use a J. It is a medium 4 weight. There were 6 ounces in here. 322 yards. It's 100% acrylic. And it was just simply called Pastel Pink. Okay. This brand, Sincerely by Purl, this was from Joann, the craft store Joann's Fabric. Okay. This was their in-house brand. But unfortunately, when I discovered it in 2015, they were in the process of discontinuing it. So when I bought this yarn, it was all like 50% off, because they were getting rid of it. And it was the first time I understood the words squishy yarn, because while it is acrylic and it is so soft. I mean, I grew up using Red Heart Super Saver, so this stuff is soft. So that's what I got left over from the pink, which I actually was started to make squares out of that. I have another project. So here is the purple, which they simply called lavender, right? Here's the green. I bought a I had 2 balls of the green because I really like this minty green. So the first one I used in this project, and this is the second one. I don't think I used this one at all in this blanket, but this is the green. They called it Seafoam. And yeah, see right there, my notes. J stands for Joann's. And I paid $2.97 for it because they were discontinuing it. Here is what I call ducky yellow, and they just called yellow. But you see how the yellow is so much brighter than the pastel colors, which was fine. You always need a little pop of color in your blankets. So the blue that I used in this blanket, I wound up using it in another blanket, and it was simply called Pastel Blue. There we go. That's all I have left of the blue, because I had used it in another project after this one. So this yarn is fantastic. It's soft and it's squishy, but as we are all at the mercy of the craft stores, it has been discontinued. It's been discontinued for like 7 years. But aren't they awesome colors? And look, it is so squishy. Okay, I'm sorry. I'd forgotten how much I love playing with yarn. All right, so my initial starting chain. I love the H hook, which is a 5mm. It's my favorite hook size to use, especially since most of my blankets are done in a medium 4-weight. So for this one, because it has this rippling effect, and down here you have to put double crochets together to take 2 stitches and turn it into 1. And then here you have to increase, where you put 2 double crochets in 1 stitch to increase. That's how you get your hills and your valleys, right? So to combat curling and tightness with your initial starting chain and your initial first row, you go up a hook size. Now I knew I wanted to use an H, so I went up to an I, which is a 5.5mm. So my starting chain and my first row is done with an I, or a 5.5mm. And then row 2 and the rest of the blanket, I switched to the H, which is a 5mm, okay? And it really does help with this curling and the tightness when the chain pulls in together when you work that first row. All right, and then okay, so Lucy has on her blog a certain number of chains for the blanket she made. I used less than that. I did 140 chains plus 3, because the 3 is your turning chain. So 140. And then I did 2 rows of each color. All right, I did 2 rows of pink, 2 rows of the mint. I call it minty green, even though they call it seafoam. And then 2 rows of the lavender, 2 rows of the blue, and then 2 rows of the yellow. And then when I did the color repeats again, I changed the order up a little bit. Like this first time around was pink, green, purple, blue, yellow. So then I did purple, pink, green, blue, yellow. And then pink, green, purple, yellow, blue. So it just, unless you're seriously looking at it, you don't really notice that I had changed it up too much. But that's what I did. I just changed it up just a little bit. Pink, green, purple, blue, yellow again. And then pink, purple, green, blue, yellow. Pink, green, purple, yellow, blue. With purple, green, and pink to mirror the other end. And then I was done. So what I did was, when I was done with the blanket, you end on, it would be row, I did 30 color blocks, so that's 66 rows. Yeah, 66 rows from the first row of pink to this last row of pink, right? And then this row here in the white, what it does is it straightens out your edge, okay? So at the top of the hill here, you just do single crochets. And then going down into the valley, you do half doubles, doubles, and then triples, or what's called trebles, to get that height so you can straighten out your edge, so you can put a border on the blanket. And I knew I wanted a border on there. And then once I straightened out the edge here, and then down on the other end, at the beginning row, you just flip your blanket upside down and straighten out the edge there too. Okay, see those single crochets that go into half doubles, doubles, and then the trebles. Okay, then I did one round of double crochets, and then 2 rounds of single crochets, and that's it for the border. That's one end of the border. On the sides, I did 2 double crochets in either the first or the last stitch of each row. I did not go in between here. A lot of people like to add in that extra stitch, but when you do that, you wind up with this buckling effect, you know, and you don't want that. So do 2 double crochets in your turning chain or in your last stitch of the row. I'm telling you, it comes out beautifully, and it comes out nice and even. Okay, look at that. It's beautiful. Now let me show you those colors one more time, because this blanket, when I touch this one, it is so squishy. Well, look at that. Oh, this blanket is beautiful. All right, let me go sit in front of the camera, and then we'll talk about the details of this blanket, okay? Okay, so you're going to see an edit there because I started babbling about the blanket and I had lost my train of thought. So, I absolutely love this yarn. When I was doing that yarn shopping in 2015, because I finally gave myself permission to buy brand new yarn, right? I got so frustrated with myself that, excuse me, I'm sorry, it's an allergy day. That when I found a yarn that I loved it. It was nice, and it was thick, and it was a medium 4 weight that I was used to working with. And then they discontinued it. And they didn't even have a lot of colors at the time. I got the last of the colors that Joann's had before they had, you know, said, okay, nope, we don't have any more. So I absolutely love. Okay, this ducky yellow, Vanna White, with Vanna's Choice, she has the same similar color to this, and I absolutely love it. Whenever I come across this shade of yellow that reminds me of little rubber ducks, I always buy it, and regardless of what brand it is, what company it is, or how much it is, good, you'll see when I go through my yarn pile. I love this version of yellow. And of course the pinks and the purples, they're beautiful, but the yarn is. Here, I went and bought another ball of the purple since they were discontinuing it. So I've had this since 2015. I haven't done anything with it except for move it around from spot to spot. So it is a brand new ball of yarn, even though looks like it's falling apart. It's not. It's just a little rough and tumble every now and then in the house, you know. And same with the green. I had gone back and bought as many as I could because I had really liked the squishiness. And I had bought other colors. I have a burgundy color somewhere. I couldn't find it in the bin when I was looking at it. And then I have some gray color because I had made a baby blanket with the leftover blue from this Ripple blanket. I had made a baby blanket, and I had mixed the blue with gray. Oh, it came out beautifully. And I had loved working with this yarn so much that what I did was, when I was done working on this Ripple, you know, sometime a year or 2 later, when I had come across the yarn in a pile of yarn, oh, that's the gray and the blue. I do have a bigger ball of the blue in here. I had started making squares, granny squares, squares from corner to corner. I actually have a pile of corner to corner squares to put them together and make a patchwork blanket, because those are my favorite kind of blankets. I love the look of patchwork when it's just leftovers and just all thrown together. Anyway, That I love the yarn. It's squishy and it's beautiful, and I wish they still made it. So what do you guys think of my Pastel Ripple? I love it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, and it's simple to do. The beauty about Lucy at Attic 24, Lucy hasn't been crocheting nearly as long as I have been, but Lucy's a wonderful teacher. She has a way of taking what seems like a complicated stitch or a pattern, and she puts it in words that make it simple and easy to use. And that's what she did with the ripple, because you have to do increases when you hit the top of the peak, or the at the top of the hill. You have to do the decreases in the valley. That's how you get that rippling effect. Hills and valleys, right? And the way you have to do the increases and the decreases, Lucy put it in terms that made it so simple. This is the first blanket I made with Lucy's pattern. I think I have done one more after this because it was so enjoyable. It should be in my pile of projects, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But she has a wonderful way of explaining things and making it simple. So anybody can do this. If you can do single crochets and double crochets, you can do this. So hold on one second. Let me find my notes. I do this without a script, you know. I don't practice talking about it. I do this right off the seat of my pants when I do this, okay? You can find Lucy at her blog, and her blog is called Attic 24, and I think it's not WordPress, Typepad. That's her blogging platform. And you'll find her on Facebook, and you'll find her on Instagram. It is Attic 24. Okay, Attic, ATTIC 24. All right. So my initial starting chain was 140 plus 3. I did 2 rows of each color going up throughout the blanket, and then I went back and I did the, what do we call them, fill-in rows to straighten out the edge in white, where I did, you know, the singles going into the triples or trebles, and then back again to straighten out the edge. I had done that at the end of the blanket and at the beginning of the blanket, and then when I was done those 2 rows, I went and did a round of double crochets and then 2 rounds of single crochets for the border in white. I used for the initial chain and the first row, I used an eye or a 5.5 millimeter hook to help with the tightness. A lot, we have a tendency to do our chains really tight, so then the first row comes out really tight, and then the rest of the blanket is all nice and loose, so you'll see it come in a little bit. So it's always recommended to go up a hook size. So I started out with the eye, 5.5 millimeter, and then for row number 2 I switched to the H, which is the 5 millimeter. My blanket is 48 inches wide by 50 to 52 inches tall. You know, when I lay it out on the floor and you stretch it, and then it goes, you know, so 50 to 52 inches tall. And it's done with Sincerely Purl Essence Baby from Joann's. It was their store brand, but it has since been discontinued. And I made the blanket in May 2015. Well, I started in late May and I finished it in early June 2015. This blanket was the yarn was a pleasure to work with. And Lucy's pattern it's absolutely beautiful and it's phenomenal. Pulled out one of my stitches when I hung it up. I have to fix that. So, I love it. I love this blanket. It's absolutely beautiful. What else can I tell you about it? Anything? No. Other than I have notes for when I did squares, because I was trying to make a small little baby blanket. So yeah, that's my Pastel Ripple. Pattern is by Lucy at Attic 24. But the rest of it's all me, though, okay? So Lucy, she has the pattern for her neat ripple, but the rest of it's all me. Filling it in to straighten out the edge, doing the border the way I did it. The color choices are mine. The yarn choices are mine. The way I crochet is all mine. But the way the pattern was written, I followed Lucy's pattern. Okay. So there is my Pastel Ripple. I don't have anything to do to it. All my yarn tails were tucked in, sewn in, crocheted in. I have notes from it. I have pictures of it in my computer. It was all completely done. It's just been sitting around for 7 years waiting for me to do something with it because I was having a hard time letting go of all the stuff I was crocheting. So this is me working through my issues of letting it go. I should be listing it in my Etsy shop to sell, and I should be writing up a blog post about it. And the yarn, okay. The yarn I have left, like the leftover yarn, I'm going to be keeping those because I love working with leftover yarns. I love seeing what I can come up with to use these scrappy leftovers, right? But this brand new ball here and this one, I mean, I can straighten these up. And I'm thinking I'll look on eBay and see if anybody's selling them. See if I should sell them. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments below. Should I sell the new balls of yarn or should I hold on to them so that I can work them into my scrappy project? Or should I just let them go? Because I know I have more of the yarn in new skeins and new balls. It's in my bin over there. I just didn't pull them all out today. Oh, she's so beautiful. Okay, I'm working through my pictures folder for 2015. We're not even halfway through it yet, so there should be a handful more blankets to go. Alright, so did I go through my notes too quickly? Did I talk too fast? I'm a little excitable today, so that happens. Things go very, very fast for me, and I have a hard time slowing down. So if I missed anything or I went over it too fast, by all means, drop a comment down below and let me know. The excitability is, I've been able to crochet a little bit more than I have been. I'm up to about an hour a day, so that's a good thing and it's a happy thing. But at the same time, while I'm working through my pile of stuff that's been in my house for so long, I want to start new projects. I cannot start new projects. I have so many. I'm telling you guys, by the time we're done, it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of balls of yarn. It's going to be dozens of books and patterns. And it's going to be at least, at the minimum, 60 blankets that I have in my project pile. I cannot be starting anymore. And I have just, since I started this YouTube channel in January, just been sitting with my hook and just doing simple little things like working on single crochets or half double crochets or making up little squares like my patchwork blanket here. I've been doing that the last day or two. I should have a video for you guys about that. But I can't be making any new projects, but every time I come across another one and it has yarn to it, I'm like, I want to make another project. And it just goes around and around and around inside my head, like let's go crochet, let's go crochet, let's go, we want to, but I can't. I have so much, and then I'm still getting my hands back in shape, and I'm still getting my arms back in shape from taking a year off, you know. So I'm finding it tough. If you guys have any help me out, I could use some encouraging words. So if you guys like today's video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I need to know that people are out there watching and they actually like what I'm doing. So I will see you hopefully next Friday or next Thursday with the next blanket in my project pile. Bye!